Good win. Good job by all of our guys. Playing a good game. We talked about sending our seniors out the right way in Dick's Stadium for their last time in the Kent State uniform in Dick's, and our guys did a good job of stepping up and doing it. We got a short week coming up with our game coming up Tuesday. These midweek games, the days are all kind of mixed up and screwed up with what days really are. But really today's like a Sunday, Monday for us together. Our guys will be off because we have to give them a day off, and they'll start their preparation. Our coaches will start preparation on Ohio, and then tomorrow will be a Tuesday, Wednesday. So it'll be a short week, for us to prepare, which will be good, for us. So, most of everything that we are going to do and been doing, we already have in. It's just a matter of us, preparing like crazy and getting ready for OU. So, but proud of this team, proud of our guys, proud of the way they played, proud of the way they sent our seniors off.
You talked about kind of getting back to the basics last couple games. It really seems like that's what you were able to do. You run the ball effectively, pass enough to keep them honest.
Mm-hmm.
The one turnover right at the very end. Can you just kind of talk about your ability to be able to do that?
I think the one thing when you sit there when I watched the film this morning, the one thing that I notice is our blocking and particularly on the offensive side, not only by the offensive line but by our tight ends and our receivers downfield, and it was great. And that's how big run plays happen. Is those guys were grinding like crazy, and they were having fun, and it didn't matter who was sitting there getting the ball. The guys were having fun, but that's the one thing that I noticed from the film that was different from maybe 4 weeks ago. The guys were grinding like crazy to get blocks downfield, and big things were happening with that happening. We still got to work on the discipline part with the penalties. We still got to work on the fundamental of tackling a little bit better, in my sense. But, again, it was a lot better. A lot of those things were a lot better, getting off blocks, blocking, those things we talked about for us to be successful.
Defensively, what did you notice? Obviously, you're able to limit them 170.
The guys play hard. Even the plays that we gave up, we could fix. And that's where you sit there and you watch the film. I know they got a big pass play just because of, bad eye control. He starts scrambling around and we lose a little bit of eye control. But the guys played, again, hard. Most important thing was the points allowed, which is the most important thing in the game, is not letting them get in the end zone. And I don't know exactly how many times they got in the red zone, but quite a few times in the red zone, and we either held them to field goals or stopped them. So, again, proud of the way that they sat there and they fought and they played and they prepared.
Aside from the worst fake punt, as you said, ever in history of college football, how do special teams look on you?
They did good. Our cover units was better. Our kickoff team was better. It was good to have Anthony back out there, kicking for us. And, he had one instruction, and that was to kick it and jog to the sideline and get off. And right before we scored and he kicks the extra point, I pulled him aside again. I said, "What is your job?" And he said, "Kick it." And I said, "Jog to the sideline." And I made him promise me that he would jog to the sideline. But, we still had some opportunities on our kickoff return to get bigger plays. We just got to sit there and clean up the technique of that because we know they're going to pooch it. We just got to do a better job of executing there. But again, pleased with the special units besides that awful fake punt.
Talk about Anthony coming back. I know you didn't really think a few weeks back that was going to happen.
You know what? When it first happened, I didn't. And, he did a good job of attacking treatment. And, last week we sat there and we were only going, against Akron, we were only going to use him if it was dire needs, if the game was on the line and we needed to get a game-winning field goal or something like that. That was the plan. And then he really probably could have played, against, but I wasn't comfortable enough to sit there and try it. And then he did another good job in our bye week of sitting there in treatment and it was just kickoffs, and he's still not ready to punt, just kickoffs and field goals if we were inside the 25. But it's huge to have him back there that we can kick the ball deep and get him out of the end zone. That's the best, kickoff for us if we can get him in the end zone. So he's a weapon for us. He's a weapon for us as a kicker, and once he gets back punting, he'll still be an extra weapon for us.
Is there any chance of punting against OU?
I don't think so. I don't think he's still ready to punt, and I don't want to take the chance. I'd be sick, if something happened to him the last game of the season and we lose him for half of the season with a crazy injury with a hamstring, something like a hamstring popping. So, I still think we'll just use him for kicking and kicking off.
What about your message to the seniors before the game and after the game? Have one?
Really just proud of them. They've meant a lot to Kent State, and we'll sit there and I'll spend a little bit more time with them, after the season. We plan on taking them all out to dinner and just talking to them. But they meant a lot to Kent State through their years here, through their 4 or 5 years here. Of course, with the season last year, a lot of those guys played a big part in the success that we had last year. And they played a big part with the leadership of this year. So I know it didn't end up the way that they wanted, but kind of how Rosie said, and you're going to forget about the record. You're going to remember what happened in the locker room. You're going to remember certain plays. You're going to remember the good times and the good friends. That's what you're going to remember, and that's what they're going to remember about their class. And it will be interesting to see those guys 10 years from now on who's still hanging out together, and I guarantee you it'll be somebody from their class or this football team. So those are the things that we sit there and we talked about most of the time, because I sit with the captains at our Friday night, meal, and those are the things that we sat there and we talked about.
Now, with this short week, coming out from a long week, what's lost in a 6-day week, whether it's practice time or time in the film room?
Really, it's really the preparation, because like I said, today's really a Sunday and Monday, combined, so you lose a day that those guys would really have to recover from a game, and then also just an extra day of prep for these guys to watch film on them. But sometimes I think it's good because as far as coaching-wise, because you can't put in a bunch, and that's really how we attacked last week. We spent our bye week, the 2 practices we had, not really doing a lot of Miami stuff. We concentrated on our fundamentals and technique, and I kind of did it on purpose because the more time you have as coaches, the more different crap we came up with, just like that fake punt, So that's really a good thing with the short week that, we have in what we have in. Let's find out what they do best and let's go with it.
Nate, can you talk a little bit about your personal comeback this year? A lot of guys who have been done for the year. You missed a bunch of games. Not like you had an off week also to get better, spend time healing. You missed games. How did you come back so fast?
Mainly just getting treatment. Was going in at 7 and staying there till I have to go to class and then coming back. And just trying to stay mentally in the game by watching film and doing all the cardio on the bike. So when I was able to come back, I wasn't going to be out of shape or slower mentally with the game.
How important was it for you to come back?
It was pretty important to me. I don't like sitting out or seeing everybody else have to practice, and I just had to sit there or stand there. It meant a lot just so I could help like the seniors win, and just trying to come back was pretty important to me.
Were you surprised yourself at how fast you were able to come back and be effective?
No, just they said 4 to 6 weeks, and I had made up my mind that that's when I was going to come back was 4. I wasn't really supposed to. I guess I found that out after the game, but yeah. But we have Trent and Alex were great in the training room, and they let me progress as I could, and they wouldn't let me do too much so I wouldn't hurt myself more. But as soon as they let me, or they come with me to the pool so I could do pool workouts, I think that helped. Just getting weight, being able to stand and stuff on it again.
Can you talk about Nate? I mean, not even only coming back from that injury, but yet he's been like Ty said very effective as well.
Yeah, and when I first got here and we started spring practice and everything, I didn't do a very good job of looking at the roster. I thought he was a senior just because of how he worked and his motor and everything else. And then when I found out we have him for 2 more years, I was real excited, you know. And I think I've told you guys, I think he has the potential to be a first-round draft choice just with his work ethic. And when you saw him during those injured weeks, from period 1, I'd look over and he'd be riding that bike like crazy. In period 15, you look over and he's still riding it like crazy. But that's him, and that's his work ethic. And you know, guys respect him like crazy because they know he's going to give 110% all the time in practice, in the games. But he's going to be a guy that leaves a legacy here, I think, at Kent State. And I think he's already a leader. You know, some guys are leaders because of popularity. Some guys are leaders because of the way that they perform on the field. He's one of those who he's going to be a leader by the way that he performs on the field.
Colin, can you talk about, you know, bouncing back, had a couple of games where you had some interceptions, and you're able to get through this one turnover free?
Yeah, it was just, you know, the games where I had those interceptions last 2, I just, you know, it was fine all game, and then took one play off, which I've learned, obviously, that you just can't kind of take a play off mentally, not physically, just mentally, and not really look at the coverage or, you know, what's going on, where the blitzes are or anything, and I just can't, you know, heave balls up. And I was real good with that in the beginning of the year. I don't know how many I had, but I was very few throughout the full year, and then kind of got a little greedy with some things, just, you know, trying to make a big play and one play when I don't have to. I just got to let the big plays come. Can't make them happen. And that was my biggest emphasis. Like this week, I was just trying to, you know, one read's not there, go to the next. If that one's not there, go to the next and hit the check down. Just, you know, keep the ball moving, get positive yards. Just don't try to heave one up. Don't try to do anything like that. So, but I got to keep working on that too, because there's a couple times last night there's 2 balls that I threw up. I didn't try to force them as much, but they could have gone either way. They weren't like either our guy's catching it or it's going to be an incomplete passage. So just got to keep working on that. And I felt like last night I was a lot more comfortable with everything once I got a couple passes off, just a little confidence again, and that's all.
I noticed after one play you came over and got pretty animated.
I can't let that happen now. Yeah, that was just with like play calls, but I just gotta. I felt rushed, and then when I really looked back at it, I really wasn't rushed with like time on the play clock, and you know I just gotta trust the coaches a little more. And I was fine. It's just the one play kind of got to me. Just didn't have a timeout, and that's what was really like in my head. Like, oh, I can't, you know, we're low on timeouts, and so it's just because the play call wasn't in fast as I would have liked it. But that's stuff I have to, you know, deal with, and I can still run the offense with the time they're giving me to call plays and do everything, and that's just on me.
Yeah. I mean, freshman quarterback, it's tough. I mean, and all these things you're talking about are things you have to go through, and you feel like now that you've been through a season and all the, you know, ups and downs is typical of what happens, and you feel like you're currently coming, you know, now that the season's almost over, you kind of feeling not like a freshman anymore, so to speak.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, even just didn't play last year, but even being here last year, just the experience of traveling and being at the games, not being on the field, I think that helped me. And then especially being on the field and really learning things from, you know, behind the face mask instead of on the sideline, it, you know, really helped, and a lot more confidence, you know, taking a couple hits. I know I can take it. That was the biggest thing coming to the season. I was like, I don't want to get, you know, smacked one time and be done. But took a couple big hits, and I just confidence, you know, just one of those things that got to go through one play where you do get hit pretty hard, and you're like, okay, that's not bad. I can, you know, I can deal with it. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, because, I mean, coaches have confidence in me. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here. So like, I know I don't have to prove anything to them. But just going through everything, I feel like a lot of guys are, you know, following me, believe in me on the team too, as seniors, me being, you know, 4, maybe 5 years younger almost. And It's good. It's more with teammates, and I feel like the guys really have accepted, freshmen playing, and it makes me feel good. And I felt like I've been pretty good all season. I've had some pretty low moments, but it just comes with time, learning, experience, and everything. But I feel good with where I'm at right now.
Your offensive line has done a nice job in pass protection for you all year, but how important is a guy like Casey Pierce been?
Casey's been awesome because in the passing game, a lot of time people forget about the tight end, especially when he's on the line and not, out in the flex position. And a lot of zone read pass stuff that we have, he's been huge for us. And I've known Casey for a really long time, even before I was here. Played him in high school, and just when I come up to visit, like Luke Wallet, every once in a while, he was good friends with him. So I've known him forever. So it's nice. I trust him, and I know he trusts me to get him the ball. And he's athletic in the field too, so he can catch and kind of make some people miss and get yards. And he's made some huge catches for us this year. And I mean, I'm happy to have him coming back next year too. And
What about that joke he played on you in the end zone after your rushing touchdown?
yeah, he that's just kind of thing, because like I've known him, he knows he can joke with me, and people don't know is he kind of got me twice. He thinks the first time I didn't really see him because there's still other people around. He's like, "Oh, jump," and I was about to, but then someone else, like I think Trayon, like jumped on me, and then after everybody left, he goes, "Oh, jump," and I jump, and then he just walks away, and it was just like, so I knew it's gonna be in, it's not top 10 or something. I hope, but it was funny. It's just, that's the stuff you gotta have. It's just fun while you're playing, and that's something I probably won't forget. Just I looked like a fool on national TV, like you said, but that's fun.
Have any of you had a chance to look at OU yet? Maybe their game on Tuesday?
I just sat there and just skimmed through just the game real quick, so I haven't had time to watch them yet.
I haven't yet either. I've had class this morning, and then this, and then another class. But after that, we'll go to.
Colin, your ankle got maybe tweaked a little at the end of the game. Is that feeling okay today?
Yeah, my ankle's feeling fine. I mean, it's just, after game soreness, really. It just, it still bothers me. Sprained ankles, just those things that linger for almost a year sometimes. And it's been feeling really good. I mean, once I get practice and everything, just when I start, it kind of hurts. But once I get moving, it's fine. It was just the one pass I threw, and the kid just kind of hit me on my leg, and just the way it rolled real quick, and it was just like, it hurt, but I just got to walk those ones off. So I just got up and tried to jog off, get it moving again, and it feels good today. I just got to ice, tack treatment, like, it's important, so it's all right.
Can you just talk about everything Colin's experienced this year? I mean, injury to ups and downs, how important that is to his development going forward.
I think it's huge in his development because I think he's seen it all. And this isn't easy. It isn't an easy position to be thrown in as a freshman. And, you got a lot of playmakers around you, but you always touch the ball, and you got to find a way to get it to him. And, he's handled it great, this year. And again, when you have an injury, and that tacks on to the mindset again of a quarterback, and especially a young quarterback, I think he handled that. I think he learned or earned the respect of the team early, though, with his toughness. Again, when I think about, no one knew him from Adam, really. I know he was here, but he just like he said, from the sideline. But then you're sitting in front of the huddle. But when he had a couple plays earlier of making throws, when he had a couple plays, to me, what stands out is when he runs the ball and took those hits, and he pops right back up, and that earns respect, I think, from a lot of his teammates. And so he'll continue to get better. And as you guys listen to him talk, he's his worst critic. He'll learn from his mistakes that he's, even on himself, that he'll sit there and puts on himself. But it's nice to have these guys like this, you're going to have for a couple more years, that are not only good football players, but good students, good people, good leaders. And when you have that, you have a future.
Nate, Nate, can you talk about your sack last night, how that play developed?
I haven't seen it yet, but I think we were in tough, so I was at the 3 technique, and when I came off the tackle, jumped inside real fast, and then I beat him on the outside, and then kind of chased the quarterback down. And then I felt a pretty big adrenaline rush after that. It's good to be back and get a sack again. So I felt really good.
Good. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.